With the amount of anime airing recently, it's no surprise that some's gonna fly under the radar. But specifically, Bungo Stray Dogs seems to still be quote-unquote niche. People know about it and it has its own fan base, but it's rarely talked about when other great animes are brought up in the community.
Like, I hate wasted potential. That shit crushes your spirit. It really does. It crushes you.
Ironically, part of the reason that it flies under the radar is the studio behind Bungo Stray Dogs themselves. Studio Bones does not miss. To start, they made arguably the greatest anime of all time in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it doesn't end there. Two of my favorite animes to recently air were Mob Psycho's last season, which had a beautiful close, and I mean beautiful is the only way to describe it. And on top of that, we had My Hero's arguably best season so far, and they were both produced by Studio Bones.
You can't keep getting away with it!
But besides the overload of great anime, Bungo Stray Dogs is still rarely, if ever, part of the conversation. From the narrative shifts to the complex characters, it's genuinely one of the best animes that I've seen. At first glance, the anime may look weird or too comedic to some. It doesn't necessarily fit in a genre, so people might avoid it for that reason, but that's their first mistake. For starters, it has some of the best writing that I've seen in anime. It shouldn't come as a surprise since the majority of characters are actually named after famous authors, but clearly the creator of this work is more than just a fan and actually a talented author themselves. They playfully write in complex traits into an already intricate plot. I get it though. When I first watched it, I thought, who is this idiot floating down a river? Oh, he's one of the main characters. Alright, I think I've seen enough. On a real note, I thought it was funny, and I continued to watch it. Recent works like Chainsaw Man prove that not everything has to be as serious as your typical shonen anime. And as much as I love shows like Attack on Titan, and honestly I always prefer the serious tones, the lighthearted animes can have some of the hardest hitting themes. One thing that sticks with me past all the episodes I watched is the complex traits that I mentioned. Dazai is playfully suicidal, Rampo is playfully proud and arrogant, and the list goes on. Of course, at first, this seems almost dumb. I mean, Dazai asks every other woman to jump off a bridge with him. Given it's funny, I can see why some people are thrown off. But it's more than just comedic relief. It serves as a unique interpretation for what these characters are actually going through. With Dazai, for example, this show wastes no time in explaining his past. From his mob ties to the losses of people close to him, this character is not okay mentally. He survives through this agency that takes him in. He's still pretty insane at heart, but he gets better over time. He learns who and what he can protect now. The wrongs he did in the past don't have to hold him back from making his future right. And Dazai is not even our main character. That would be Atsushi. We learn early on that Atsushi doesn't fit in anywhere. As strong as his power seems, it actually isolates him. Personally, if I was a tiger, nobody's messing with me, but Atsushi is a bit kinder than me. He acts as the bigger person, but he's led nowhere. Similar to Dazai, he is now searching for his purpose. Both Dazai and Atsushi are isolated. It's for different reasons, but as much as they might deny it, they just want a place to belong. And the detective agency serves as that place. This is just from season 1 and 2. Yet the complexity didn't end in the earlier seasons. We explore the same with Rampo in season 4, which is currently airing. We dive straight into the background that he has, which is rooted in insecurity. And from the first episode of the new season, we find out that our prideful, smartest person in the room actually doubted himself, like severely. And this isn't the only season of Bungo Stray Dogs that immediately hooked me. I mean, in the second season, they completely shifted main characters, and we now followed the story from Dazai's friend's point of view. They managed to introduce an entirely new MC and still had me hooked. This is the power of writing. No matter the direction of the plot or the character that they focused on, I was still interested. And even with the narrative shifts, there were overarching themes, so the plot still progressed. I think people just see the comedy or the outlook from certain scenes before actually trying to watch the anime and just give up on it. It's unique, so you can't necessarily push it as a shonen or slice of life anime because it's neither. It has mystery, action, emotion, comedy, powers, and just about everything that makes anime so good. Of course, as any anime out there, it has flaws. It doesn't hold the same serious tone that most of the anime greats do, but I think it's time to change what makes an anime great. This story itself is enhanced by this group. The ability to humanize not just the main character but the supporting cast as well creates a different type of attachment. And beyond all of that, it's really refreshing to watch. I know I already said it, but it really is unique. It's entirely different as an anime. It doesn't follow most of the typical structures, but instead goes on its own path. It doesn't try to force anything, which may ultimately be the reason it's not discussed a lot, but that's why I'm encouraging you to please watch it if you haven't already, or at least give it a chance. There's a lot of thought behind it, and an equal workforce behind the animation and the technical aspects. This isn't just any anime group. This is a family. They give each other purpose and look forward despite what they've been through. And given all of that, the detective agency is just the start. The villains are OP as hell, which at this point, if you watch anime, you know that that's a great thing. As fans, in the back of our head, we always know the MC just can't die. That's rule number 1 in the anime books. But when you create villains that